So I just finished Illicit Affairs. I've been looking really forward to this one. So I'm about to share something that I probably shouldn't, but you know, whatever. So I think I might have mentioned, but anyways, I'm in the process right now of writing a book. And that book kind of it's autobiographical in nature, kind of just details my entire path to law school and just really my highs and lows, really from, again, basically college on and all of those things that you go through. And that's a significant amount of time for me. And it's going to be called Finally Legally Blonde, My Personal Journey of Hope. And it kind of has something to do with the journey of hope from violence to healing with Bill Pelkey and the Paula Cooper story. That in itself is a long story with the abolition movement. But again, since the abolition movement inspired me to go to law school, it's kind of, it ties along with a lot of those things. But, like I said, it's autobiographical in nature. And I also plan on starting the chapters with a name of a Taylor Swift song that kind of defines that part of my life. And there was this one time where there was a very scandalous moment that I didn't know what that chapter was going to be. And then enters Illicit Affair. And I'm not going to go into... Sorry, I've got all the dogs here. I think just 4 of them in the room right now. I've got 5. It's crazy. But anyways, I'm not going to go into those details. They're definitely juicy, and I can tell you the way that this book's going to be. It's going to be one of the juiciest, steamiest autobiographies probably ever written, but you know, that's me. But I had my own illicit affair way back when, and it's definitely not something I'm proud of, but I learned a lot from it. And again, I didn't know what that chapter was going to be named until now. And it was one of those affairs that likely could have potentially been a scandal, front page news of the Indy Star scandal, even possibly national news. And in fact, this person never learned their lesson that they probably should have learned, and likely they did get caught later was. So anyways, I just relate to that. And first of all, I want to know I'm interested to see who and we'll probably never know, but basically who the illicit affair was with Taylor. That's really interesting. But she just describes it again so eloquently. She has some of the best lyrics in here. It just shows how genius of a songwriter she is and how she can just get every emotion that's tied to everything. So even in this one, it's what started in beautiful rooms ended up meeting in parking lots. And then that's my favorite part's the chorus, and it's and that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares, because the longing stares, I swear, especially when you're an empath and you don't know it, you are so susceptible to that, if you don't have your energy guards up. They show their truth one single time, but they lie and they lie a million little times. And then here's honestly though my favorite, this is what just blew my mind, because again, she's just such a lyrical genius. Take the words for what they are, a dwindling mercurial high, a drug that only worked the first few hundred times. Now with my situation, it did not last that long. I learned very quickly and realized hey, you need to quit being so selfish. Did Bible study and then kind of sought forgiveness and quit what I was doing. But it's a really interesting perspective, and I was just damn. Leave it to Taylor again to just nail that. And again, I applaud her because she's being super vulnerable, and that's what's so cool about this is her album. And that's, again, another way that we're always kind of on this parallel plane. I'm planning out these books. And just kind of, again, I've been doing a lot of these thinking too, back to those super important relationships, the first love, those loves in between that break you but make you better eventually and teach you a lot of things all the way to your final love. But yet again, it's, as she points out so beautifully in an invisible string, it's this invisible little dance in this string, and you get broken, and it's, heaven and hell, all that kind of stuff. But again, even these illicit affairs, whatever, it all plays into that whole picture to get you to where you are. And it's important And that's what I just love about this. She's kind of in the same place, like trying to put that out there. And again, so she just inspired me to finally start putting my stuff out there. And honestly, so my blog, it was my first idea, and then the books kind of just organically happened during the fast and vigil with death penalty stuff. They'd already been kind of in the works in a different way that later I'll explain too, and that's still a project that's going. But now I figured out a way to make it like truly biographical and make it happen now. Hopefully in the next 6 months or so that'll be done. But yeah, so it's just, again, I want to put all of that stuff out there because you never know who you can inspire by telling your stories. And something that Taylor made me realize is that, like, I can't sing. I can play the flute, actually. I can now play some Taylor Swift songs with the flute, and that's great. But I'm not really musical or artistic in that way, but I have realized, like, I'm very creatively artistic with my thinking. You know, a lot of my friends, or I wouldn't necessarily say friends, but the people I went to law school with, because people I learned either loved me or hated me, but I had people that would tell me, like, hey, all of your questions, because I was definitely a Hermione Granger, unfortunately, for most people, but I would ask a lot of questions and just make people think of things in different ways, or I have really novel arguments and ways of thinking about things, and that's actually about to play out into something really cool that's going to be spiraling in the courts, hopefully, soon. I can't speak any more on it, but there's some neat stuff happening because of some of my very creative legal ideas. But that's the point, is I realized that I can tell my stories just by using my words and writing. And so the blog is kind of, for one, it's a way to start exposing things with the system that I really don't like. That was first and foremost, but also for me to start just really documenting themes and ideas and just start putting things on paper, because again, it's like everything else in your life, the more you do it, the easier it is to do. So the more I get used to kind of writing in this way, and just getting kind of like focusing on me for once now that I'm not in school, it's just really cool. But so yeah, Illicit Affair just it filled a hole that, quite honestly, it's like that's the one aspect of my life I kind of never really thought there'd be a Taylor Swift song to describe. In fact, she has this song called Girl at Home, and it's actually it's a bonus track on one of her albums, so I don't think I swear her best songs like never really became major singles, but they're amazing, and that's one of them. And it's about basically like, hey, you've got a girl at home and I know better, like I'm not doing that. And so I like kind of always, I almost felt guilty kind of about my own illicit affair, because I knew that Taylor wouldn't be proud of me. And so, I mean, yeah, but damn, she surprised me and wrote a song about even illicit affairs, and she did it beautifully, and I just love her. And I'm just, again, so proud of herself for being so vulnerable. And again, we'll see what happens even more.